A loud rip. John Benson has torn open a cardboard box. He takes out of the box a hardcover book and hands it to Daniel.
This one feels different. You know, I don't mind confessing to you.
What?
Well, look, you know I had early success.
Right.
I was a Pulitzer finalist at 26, younger even than you.
You've mentioned that.
And of course, I'm proud of that, Daniel, but it also set a near impossible bar for the next one.
I like your second novel.
Exactly. It's fine. But no one was talking Pulitzer. With every respectable but unremarkable book I put out, the weight of that first one, the weight of Elder Statesman, has grown more and more oppressive. For 40 years, that novel has taunted me, and now I've bested it. And more importantly, Ribner agrees, they're making it the book. Every publishing house has the book. Every year, the one book that gets the lion's share of the promotional budget, the book they decide to make a sensation. I feel like I've conquered something.
Well, that's wonderful, John.
Enough about me. What do we do with you, Daniel?
What do you mean?
You already have a publishable novel, and a whole year left in your program.
I guess I'll write another.
My God, I spend 6 years on my 9th book, and you're averaging one a year.
Beginner's luck, maybe.
Have you heard from Patty, by the way?
Just that she's looking forward to reading it.
Well, she's usually very quick. I can nudge her.
No, please. You've done enough. Seriously. Even just sending it to her was...
Well, it's fantastic, Daniel. You're one of the only MFA students I know who have actually earned the title master.
I couldn't have done it without you. It's like you saw the novel through the words.
That's a nice way of putting it. You know, there are times when I think, well, the writing is all right and everything, but maybe this is what I'm really meant to do.
This?
This. Teaching.
Professor Benson?
Oh, shoot, Danny, sorry, I forgot. I have a meeting with,
Hi.
Hey, H.
Hey, Daniel.
H is in my intro fiction class.
Nice. You a freshman?
Sophomore, but I'm a transfer student.
Oh, where from?
St. Peter's? Tiny Catholic place.
Ah, what led you to make the switch?
John.
What?
That's kind of a personal question.
So she'll say it's a personal question. She's a grown person.
It's fine. I just needed a change of scene.
Don't say
say
just.
What?
It's a thing with him.
Just is a weak word. I want just excised from your vocabulary.
Oh, okay.
You'll get used to him.
Now, Danny boy, if you don't mind, I have an important meeting here with H to discuss this very interesting story about, well, I'm not sure what, but I am fascinated.
Thanks, I think.
Fascinated's good.
That's all right, Danny. I'll take it from here. Are we seeing you for dinner Thursday?
Yeah, 6?
You got it. Oh, hey, don't forget.
Oh, thanks. Congrats again. Nice to meet you, Age.
Yeah, you too.
I'm resident dean at Caldwell Dorm. My wife and I'll have to have you over sometime.
Does she teach here too?
Oh, no, she's a psychologist, which comes in handy when you're a writer. Have a seat. So, H. H for what, by the way?
Nothing, just H.
Your parents quit after one letter?
No. So, my story?
Yes. Well, it's very good.
Really?
It's honest and artful. There's a real elegance in your turns of phrase. You can't teach that.
Thank you.
However, it can be a bit confusing. Now, you're a protagonist.
Chris.
Yes. Who is Chris?
They're a trans, non-binary college student. They're kind of based on me.
Okay, so this thing you're doing, you don't call Chris she, you call her they?
Well, yeah.
It can be a bit hard to follow. You're saying that Chris is transgender?
Trans non-binary, not transgender.
Oh. I'm sorry, what is the difference there?
They're transmasculine. They were assigned female at birth, but they present as masculine, but they don't identify as male. Have you never had a non-binary student before?
Honestly, it's getting hard to keep up. I probably have had students who think of themselves that way. I guess I haven't spent much time discussing it.
Uh-huh.
H, what is this story about?
Well, I'd say it's about someone figuring out who they are.
Good, good. And Chris's journey is going from, well, identifying as a girl to identifying as a non-binary person?
You could put it like that, sure.
Okay. So how would you define what it means to be this non-binary type of person?
Being non-binary means you're neither male nor female.
Oh, okay, but hold on now, because male and female are categories that exist outside of one's own subjective experience. So how can you
I kind of disagree.
how can you disagree with that? It's a statement of fact.
What are you doing? Like playing devil's advocate or?
I'm asking questions that I think your readers might ask.
I don't know. I think most people know what it means to be
Well, then I'm asking as myself, if you don't mind educating me on this. Now, I can wrap my mind around being transgender and how a person can be neither, but how can a person be neither male nor female?
Well, they can be both or neither or sort of mix of the two.
Like a hermaphrodite.
Yeesh.
What?
That's an offensive word. We say intersex now.
We do.
Yeah, that's the term for that, but it's sort of a different issue. We're not talking about biology, we're talking about gender, which is a social construct, right?
Meaning what? I want to hear what that means in your own words, from your perspective.
Okay. So like, God, where to begin? Being a man or a woman carries all these associations and assumptions, right?
Sure.
When we think of who's a real woman, for instance, I mean, a bunch of qualities might come to mind, right?
I would say that all it takes to be a woman is to be an adult female.
Well, no, that's an outdated definition.
John gets up, produces a dictionary, starts flipping through it.
This is from 2018. So unless things have changed in the past year, woman, an adult female human. That seems fairly clear. Here, let's look up female.
It's not so straightforward.
Hold on now. Of relating to or being the sex that typically has the capacity to bear young or produce eggs.
Maybe we should just talk about the story.
This is about your story. You've written about someone who decides to identify as non-binary. If that's your central realization, I would think that your character would be grappling with some of these questions, no?
Well, what if I don't want to write a tutorial on gender identity?
It's your story, H. You can always do what you want. But I'm letting you know that without your defining what it means to be non-binary, it makes the story less accessible.
Less accessible to you.
A good story should be accessible to anyone with an adult level of reading comprehension and a basic sense of humanity.
So like what? Do I have to write a preface explaining what it means to be non-binary?
Well, no. I generally think a piece of work ought to speak for itself, but maybe this is what the piece should be about.
This meaning what?
This conversation, I mean, there's a tension here, isn't there, between, I suppose you could say, logic and emotion.
Which one are you?
H, what I care about, really the only thing I care about, is the writing. And I want your writing to be clear. Now, if it were up to me, one way to make it clearer would be to not use the word they to refer to a singular entity. When did you decide you were non-binary?
I didn't decide to be non-binary. That's like asking if you decided to be a man.
So this identity is intrinsic to you then?
Look, I don't really want to get into all of this with you. I'm sorry if you don't really get it, but I'm not binary. Oh, and my pronouns are they, them. So I would appreciate it if you'd respect that.
Well, I'll give it some thought.
Give it some thought.
You're asking me to endorse the idea that a person can have a gender that is neither male nor female. That sounds like a proposition I'd like to mull over a bit before I sign off on it.
But it's not yours to sign off on. It's just what I am.
With respect, my dear, I must beg some discretion in my own use of language.
H gets up, starts walking out.
Hold on a minute. We're barely scratched the surface here.
It's really fine. Actually, I think I'm just gonna, I don't know, find a different fiction workshop.
No, come on, don't do that. No, please sit back down.
No, I'm gonna go.
Well, may I give you some advice? Just one last thing.
What?
You're a very smart young woman, H. The proof is in the writing. Don't let an ideology color your perception of reality, or worse, your perception of yourself.
H looks at him, then goes. Transition to the student union. H with Alex.
I mean, I get that this is like a new concept when you're 65, but also like,
Yeah, like, do you live in a cave?
right? And honestly, figuring out my gender has taken me kind of a while. I kind of feel like transmasculine is just the best that we've come up with.
Right, gender's like infinite.
Yeah. And the last thing I need is input from some old straight guy.
I learned that lesson in high school.
What do you mean?
I had this history teacher. She was a girl, actually, or a woman, I guess. I told her I thought I might be gay. And she was like, "Oh, you're so young. You just haven't found the right girl."
Oh, shit. What did you do?
I tried to find the right girl.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it put me back in the closet for another 2 years. Well, that and my dad and my mom and the rest of my family. But it just goes to show, you never know who's going to be an ally and who's going to be just like basic.
I'm sorry you had to go through that.
It's okay. She was one of the chaperones at prom, and I got to dance in front of her with my hot 30-year-old boyfriend. So at least I got to haunt her dreams with that image for the rest of her life.
You took a 30-year-old to prom?
Sure did.
Wow. That's...
I mean, I was 18. There was nothing anyone could do about it, and it was worth it to see the looks on my teachers' faces. Like, yes, all your dreams are true. Here's an older man preying on a high school student, and you guys all have to watch. The point is, I've always been an activist.
Yeah.
Are you?
I mean, I don't want to like tear down the patriarchy or whatever.
You don't.
Oh, well, yeah, I do. I mean, obviously I do. I don't want professors casually telling me I don't exist.
Well, yeah. The patriarchy is the reason Benson thinks his old straight white man's opinion is the objective truth.
Would it be different if you were Black?
What?
You said old straight white man.
Hey, I'm just saying he's a member of all the groups that have claimed to have a monopoly on truth.
Right.
I mean, this is actually of a piece with our whole project of decolonization across the university, demanding greater representation from underrepresented voices, women, queer voices, Black and Indigenous voices, Asian voices, Latinx voices.
A lot of voices.
Yeah. And also like your more gender neutral, more gender neutral bathrooms, more bread and butter queer stuff.
Yeah. I noticed the bathrooms in Davis Hall are gender neutral.
Now they are. You missed having to deal with President Maxwell, who, honestly, thank God he's dead. I mean, just because he was like a raging transphobe.
Right.
But his replacement is from California.
Didn't she go here?
I heard as an undergrad, yeah. But before this, she worked at one of those UC schools. So, like, I think she won't be totally scared off by Biglitzikia asking for some real change around here.
Cool.
H, I'm really glad you're here.
Here, like...
You're like at Middleton. We need more people like you coming forward.
Coming forward?
Yeah. Change only happens when we're brave enough to make it happen.
Right. I get that.
And H, we're all here for you.
They stand there. Transition 2, John's office. John holds his book, admiring it.
Knock, knock.
Hey, kid.
How are
How are
things?
things on high?
They're busy. Weird.
Weird?
Yeah, I feel like 2 seconds ago I was in the dorms and now I'm suddenly in charge of these people.
Sarah and I are just thrilled this worked out. These kids are so lucky to have you. We're all lucky to have you.
Thank you, John. That's
But yes, I do remember you as a scared little freshman.
oh gosh, I don't think I was scared.
You were scared of creative writing,
Yeah, well, that was certainly true.
and for no good reason. I still remember that story you wrote about your mother and
That was ages ago. Wait, what's that?
oh, galleys of my latest. Here.
John, that's
No, I have dozens of them. Take it. They're for friends and family.
thank you.
You should come over sometime. Sarah would love to see you. You okay?
Yeah. I'm fine. I just John, a couple of students from Baglitsakia came to see me earlier today.
I'm sorry, is that a country?
It's the bisexual, gay, lesbian, transgender, straight, asexual, questioning, intersex alliance, I think.
Isn't that all of humanity?
It's definitely a lot of letters, yeah. Anyway, they said you had an interaction with a gender nonconforming student recently.
Gender not. Oh, you mean the initial girl.
The what?
The girl who's a letter, H.
Oh, yes. This was H, and then another student from that club.
Okay, well, what did they say I did?
As I understand it, the student H asked you to refer to them using gender nonspecific pronouns.
They wanted to be a they, if that's what you mean.
Right. So is that a problem?
No, it does seem rather ridiculous, don't you think? Bryn, is this really something we're taking seriously?
Well, they take it seriously.
They who?
Your student H.
There, you see? You see how that's ambiguous? The whole point of language is to communicate. This girl wants to be called something that makes communicating harder.
Right, but it makes her comfort. It makes them comfortable.
Well, I don't know that it makes me comfortable.
John, you know what? I think actually that especially, for someone at your level, a professor shouldn't have to grapple with these kinds of issues.
What does that mean?
It means, I want you focused on the big ideas, on teaching. So just think of this as a matter of policy. At Middleton, we address students by their preferred pronouns, and then if anyone takes issue with it, you can just say, well, it's a directive from the president.
A directive.
Yeah, from the president.
Bryn, I understand that you need to make these kids feel like you're taking this seriously, but I have to tell you, in 30 years, I've never had anyone from the administration tell me how to talk to my students.
No, that's not how. I don't mean for that to come across in a.
Well, how do you mean it for it to come across?
I'm trying to help you.
I see. Well, I appreciate that, if in fact that is what you're trying to do. But I find the regulation of speech.
I'm not trying to regulate speech.
I find the regulation of speech generally does more harm than good.
I am just telling you what happened. This student and their friend, okay, were upset. And it's my job to let you know that. What you choose to do with that information, well, ultimately that's up to you. But I have been doing this for a while now. And you can interpret this as a directive, but at the end of the day, it is just simple advice. Call the girl they.
John turns back to his box of books. Bryn watches him for a moment, then goes. Transition to the dining hall. H eats alone. Madeline appears with a tray, looks around, sees H, walks up to them.
The seat taken?
Oh, no.
Well, can I sit here? Take as much time as you need.
Oh, no, of course. I mean, yes, of course.
I'm Madeline.
I'm H.
H?
Yeah,
H for what?
nothing, just H.
Come on. Mysterious. Well, I'm actually named Trisha, but I hate Trisha. Madeline's a nickname.
Where'd you get Madeline?
The book.
The picture book?
Yeah.
I don't remember it.
She gets 12 Catholic schoolgirls to visit her in bed. She was my first hero. You are a tough audience.
You're
What?
a lot.
Well, I overcompensate when I'm nervous.
Why are you nervous?
Pretty girls make me nervous.
Me too.
Thought they might.
Why?
Why? I mean, so why haven't I seen you around?
I'm a transfer student.
From where?
St. Peter's?
So you're a Catholic schoolgirl.
I don't know if I'd call myself that.
Well, I guess not anymore.
I actually really liked it there. They just didn't have a creative writing major.
You're a writer.
I want to be.
What do you write?
Fiction, mostly.
So ballsy.
You think?
Oh God, yeah. I'd be way too scared to write a story.
Well, what's your major?
Chemistry.
Cool.
It's hard. At least I'm learning, actual things.
Writing's an actual thing.
Well, I know. I just mean, I feel like all the queer kids here in the humanities, it's like me and a bunch of straight boys in chem. I mean, a couple girls.
That sucks.
Yeah, it is what it is. What else do you do, H?
I just joined Bogotzakia.
God.
What's that mean?
Nothing. I'm sure they're very nice. Just whenever I go to those groups, I end up disliking gay people.
Why?
Because they're exhausting.
Well, the queer scene at St. Peter's was like non-existent, so.
So who are you all protesting these days?
We're figuring it out.
Well, I am sure you will think of something.
They're throwing a party on Saturday.
Really?
You should come.
Are you going?
I'll go if you go.
Then I guess I'll have to tolerate some queers for a night.
Transition to John's home. Sarah, John, and Daniel at the dinner table.
They're an NB.
A what?
They're non-binary. You don't have any non-binary clients?
Well, most of my clients are adults. This all sounds very adolescent.
It's getting more common than you think.
So, is she transgender?
NBs are like semi-transgender.
Semi-transgender.
To me, she seems like a regular old lesbian. Anyone meeting her would think lesbian.
Oh, people used to think I was a lesbian.
Apparently, she doesn't believe that she's,
I just thought I looked nice in suspenders.
or they don't believe in male and female.
Really, shouldn't it be they doesn't believe? I mean, it is singular. How about grammar? Doesn't they believe in grammar?
They believe in grammar.
Well, it is a new frontier of gender dysphoria, gender indecision.
I think the main thing is they don't believe in separating people into males and females, or they don't think the differences are significant.
Well, what do they think? Male and female are made up?
They think they're constructs.
You're kidding.
That's like the queer line on all of this, as I understand it.
So she's not male and she's not female. What is she?
I don't know. You'd have to ask them.
I tried asking. She made up a word. She said she was transmasculine.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I don't think she made up transmasculinity.
No, my guess is some other person made it up, and then 5 minutes later, this girl decided to be it.
I thought the word for this was androgynous.
It is.
So, what'd you tell her or them?
The girl today? I told her I'm not terribly on board for replacing her pronoun with they.
So you said no?
I said I'd give it some thought. Next thing you know, Bryn Fisher, whom I've known since she was 18, is in my office telling me I need to refer to students by whatever pronoun they want.
Was that so crazy?
Words should mean something, Daniel. The word they should mean something, and heaven knows the word gender should mean something.
Well, it does, John. Think of it like sex is what's between your legs, gender is what's between your ears.
What?
Biological sex is, well, that's one thing, and your gender, that's more subjective.
Well, it certainly seems we've come to accept that as true for transgender people, but, regular, traditional transgender people.
No, that's true.
If she wanted to be called he, would you do that?
Sure.
So how's this any different?
Well, there's something sort of antisocial about it all. I mean, regular transgender people, they say they're the opposite sex to fit in.
Yes. We're saying the whole idea of men and women are what? Social illusions? That's nonsense.
Well, if I'd known I could opt out of being a woman, I'd have done it the moment I learned about the wage gap.
I wouldn't make those kinds of jokes in front of people.
Well, I'm serious. Not to mention that for 50 years, feminists have been saying women don't have to conform to stereotypes. Now, if you're a bit butch, you're not even fully a woman. It's almost defensive.
Well, I mean, what are you going to do, though? Not respect what people want to be called?
I guess I would call them what they wanted to be called and judge them privately.
Right. That's how society functions. Public respect, private judgment, everyone gets along.
Exactly.
What I take offense to is being compelled to simply accept these definitions.
He gets up.
Wait, where are you going?
I have been struck with the urge to write.
We're in the middle of dinner.
I'm finished.
He starts walking off.
God, he always does this. Inspiration always seems to strike just as the dishes need to be washed.
What are you writing?
This is exactly the sort of thing you kids should be thinking about. The power of words to skew reality. Could make an excellent op-ed in the Inquisitor.
In the school paper? I'm not sure you should do that.
It's not like he's got some fringe point of view on all of this.
No, but it's not exactly a current one.
Well, what are you saying? Every reasonable young person has signed on to this way of thinking? I mean, to this way of talking.
No, but we're moved.
John reappears and sits down with his laptop.
I'm not writing anything inflammatory. I am merely pointing out the logical fallacy of this way of thinking.
I'm just saying, be careful.
Just.
John turns to his laptop and starts typing.
Daniel, you'll help me with the dishes, won't you?
Transition to Saturday night. H's room. H and Madeline enter, both fairly drunk.
Well, those alphabet people throw a decent party. I'll give them that.
I'm glad we're back here.
H throws their arms around Madeline.
You are a very drunk girl.
No, I'm not.
Not too drunk, I hope.
No.
Good, because this will be so much hotter if it's consensual.
You're so weird.
Madeline slips her hand down H's jeans.
Fuck. Sweet girl.
Not girl.
Not girl?
No girl words.
Okay. Well, fuck, buddy.
Yeah, that's hot.
Yeah? You gonna fuck me, buddy?
Yeah, I want your pussy.
I want your pussy.
You want my boy pussy?
I'm sorry?
I guess you've never heard of that?
I can't say that I have.
Okay, well, now you have.
I always figured the whole point of being a lesbian was not having to deal with a boy anything.
Well, it's boy pussy B-O-I, not boy pussy B-O-Y.
Yeah, I can see how that's an important distinction.
Do you like fake cocks?
Yeah, of course.
Really?
I mean, they're kind of standard.
Right.
How many times have you done this?
I'm not like counting.
Ballpark.
I've hooked up with like 1 or 2 girls.
Must be hard to keep track of.
Shut up.
No, I think it's cute. I mean, you're practically a virgin.
What about you?
9.
9?
Yeah, well, maybe only 5 of them were legit gay.
You fuck straight girls?
I don't believe in labels.
Is that what you tell them?
Maybe. You like that, huh?
What?
That I've fucked straight girls?
I don't care who you fucked, as long as I get to fuck you.
Do you want to fuck me?
Yes.
Well, gee, I don't know. I've never screwed around with a girl.
H pins Madeline to the wall.
What'd you call me?
I'm sorry, sir.
You're a girl. My girl.
Oh, am I?
H kisses her, taking control.
Well, fuck, you are full of surprises.
They kiss again. Transition to John's residence. Sarah, John, and Daniel are all on their phones.
These comments are rabid.
I'll say this. I don't think anything I've written in the past 10 years has made nearly as big a splash.
Like, what does this mean? Truly sickening to hear a tenured professor deny the lived experience of a trans student. What is lived experience?
It's experience.
Then why don't they just say that?
How about this wordsmith? We want to disrupt the systems of privilege and patriarchy that undergird heteronormative exclusivity.
Yeah, that's Biglitzikia in a nutshell.
But what?
The queer group.
Oh, God, they hate you.
Gay people don't hate me.
No, I mean the commenters. I don't know if they're gay or whatever, but you'd think that you would endorse sex trafficking.
You have to apologize.
Apologize for what?
You've just said in the school paper that you think trans people are deluded.
I did not.
Using the pronoun they to refer to a single student is not only ungrammatical, it is an implicit endorsement of the regressive idea that, for example, being a masculine woman makes one, in fact, less than wholly female. That's delusional. Delusional.
I am saying, as I state in the article, that given that gender is a state of being male or female, by definition, one's gender cannot lie outside of those categories, except for, of course, people with biological abnormalities.
Yeah, that was another point that didn't land so nicely.
I'm describing things as they are, Danny.
The way things are to you.
My boy, you can't with a straight face tell me this H girl isn't a girl.
She says she isn't.
There, you see? Even in talking about her, you call her she.
Look, I'm not going to pretend this isn't a new way of thinking about people. It takes time to, get it right and not.
It's like imagine as a lot of work, brainwashing yourself into thinking females aren't women.
It's not brainwashing to respect a person's pronouns, John.
Danny boy, there are only 2 pronouns an individual can lay claim to, I and me. As far as I'm concerned, this girl is free to call herself whatever she likes. When she starts demanding that the rest of us go along with it, that is when she might expect a raised eyebrow or 2.
I understand that this is new for you.
Oh, please, Daniel, don't talk to me like I'm some bigot. I lost more friends to AIDS than you could even fathom. I hired the English department's first lesbian professor, who was also Black, by the way.
You should remind them of that.
Don't remind people of that. Don't tell anyone anything. Just please, John, Say you're sorry. Just say, I will try to do better.
Do better at what?
At not being old.
Excuse me?
I mean, sorry. I mean, I don't know. Trying to respect people's
Lived experiences?
Sure.
I think you're being fairly hysterical about all this. I have not incited anything. I've merely revealed a tension in the current discourse.
A banging on the door, then the sound of someone running away. John pulls the door open. On the outside of the door, someone has scrawled something in spray paint.
Kate lives here?
Hey, lives here.
Oh, that's worse.
Transition to the next morning, H's dorm room. Madeline sleeps. H watches her. Madeline opens an eye. H pretends to be asleep.
Were you watching me? I think you were watching.
No.
Yes. I was watching you
When?
in the middle of the night. You woke me up. You were saying something.
I was?
Yeah, you were talking about someone named Chris?
What was I saying?
You were saying, Chris, Madeline is amazing.
Shut up.
I couldn't tell what you were saying. Something about it being too late. Who knows?
Chris, it's too late. Well, I wrote a story with a Chris.
Can I read it?
Sure.
Good. I'm glad you said yes.
Why?
Oh, you believe in yourself. That's sexy.
Can I watch you titrate something?
Of course, I do the tightest titrates.
Well, it's been fun.
I'm a first-rate titrator.
You probably better get going.
It's a tight race among us titrators.
Okay, please leave.
Madeline gets on top of H, kisses them.
Do you like it here?
Jury's still out. I don't know. Everyone's got their friends already.
What about the alphabet gays?
Yeah, I've got the alphabet gaze, but I don't know. I haven't really found a creative writing professor I've clicked with yet.
Well, I'm glad you transferred. Most girls don't like puns.
I did not like those puns.
You liked them a little bit.
I like you in spite of your puns. Also, I'm not a girl.
What?
You keep calling me a girl, and it's not a word I would use to describe myself.
I feel like your vagina would suggest otherwise. So, are you like non-binary?
You got it. Is that like an issue?
Why didn't you say anything?
I don't know. When you called me a pretty girl, I guess it made me feel like a pretty girl. And I guess I liked it.
You are a pretty girl.
I mean, I liked it in that moment, but I mean, now that you know I'm an envy, it feels wrong for you to call me a girl. Is that weird?
Can you explain it?
Explain it?
I mean, I know what being non-binary is. I guess I just don't really get how you can feel like you're not a girl.
I present on the masculine side of things.
Well, you're a tomboy. That's why I like you.
No, I'm not a tomboy. Tomboys are girls.
I don't know, man. I think you present like a girl, like a gay girl.
Well, yeah, but you also just called me man.
Well, I call everyone man, Missy.
It's a feeling. When people call me a girl or call me she, it doesn't feel right. If you call me they, that feels right. don't know how else to explain it, except it's what makes me feel most like myself.
So you're they.
I'm a they.
Hey, they.
Hey, girl. So, are you cool with that?
What, being a lesbian who's dating someone who's apparently not a girl? Shit, did I just jump the gun there with dating?
No, I liked it.
They kiss.
Well, you may not be a girl, but if I'm your girlfriend after one hookup, you're definitely a lesbian.
Transition to John's residence. John with Bryn.
We will find out who did this.
Well, a little spray paint never hurt anyone.
It's defacing of campus property. It is a crime.
A rather victimless one in the grand scheme of things. I'm just wondering why on earth people think I'm hateful.
Really?
I can see them disagreeing with me, but it's not like I want anyone in turn.
Okay, well, I need to read you a letter I got. I think you should sit down.
Okay, you want anything, coffee or anything?
Oh, I'm fine. Just take a seat with me. All right. Dear President Fisher, we, the undersigned, demand disciplinary action against Professor John Benson. Professor Benson has actively worked to deny transgender and gender nonconforming students their safety, security, and protection. We consider
Safety, security, and protection. They seem to have taken refuge in a thesaurus.
We consider his problematic interaction with a non-binary student and his writings in the press to be acts of violence.
Violence?
And we call upon the administration to take immediate disciplinary action so that Middleton can remain a safe space for all students. Signed. And then there are 100 some odd signatures.
Let's look up the word violence, shall we?
John, I actually...
No. I'd like to see what comes up.
This is beside the point.
No, I think this is very much the point, especially if we're here to talk about what words I should be using. Violence. Behavior involving physical force intended to hurt, damage, or kill someone or something. So I guess you could say I committed an act of violence if you make up your own definition of violence. Sort of how if you make up your own definition of gender, you can spark an identity crisis in an otherwise normal adolescent.
John, I know that to someone in your position with your background, this might not seem like a big deal.
My background?
Do I have to say this?
I'm not sure. What are you trying to say?
John, you're a straight white man.
For a moment, I thought you might have meant my 30 years of writing and teaching, not my sexuality and racial background. My mistake.
John, I don't know anyone whose accomplishments make them immune to criticism.
No, but they might afford a person the trust to speak freely in his own classroom.
This isn't about trust. I am alerting you to the fact that denying a student's gender identity could possibly even legally be seen as a form of hate speech, and I would rather like us not to get sued.
Sued?
Yes, I have been advised that your comments could be the basis for a Title IX complaint.
Title IX, the women's sports statute?
Which protects students from discrimination based on sex.
Whose mental contortions have led you to believe this has anything to do with Title IX?
Our Title IX officers.
Well, Bryn, while you and whoever this person is worry about being sued by a couple of teenagers, I'm worried about doing my job, which is to educate and to mold young adult minds that can go out into the world and articulate themselves, can summon respect.
Well, surely, John, you can do that while also respecting these kids' identities.
That is, if you accept that being they is an identity.
It's how a student identifies.
I understand it's how she identifies, but does that make it what she is? If I identify as a cow.
Why would you identify as a cow?
That's not a rebuttal of my argument.
It is, though, because no one is identifying as a cow. That would be absurd, but someone is identifying as non-binary.
And who's to say that's not absurd? It is an identity all but made up. It didn't even exist. What, 10 years ago? It's not based on anything real.
Okay, there's another thing. I got a call from the Tribune today.
The Chicago Tribune?
Yeah, so I guess you have not heard from them.
I haven't been to my office yet. What on earth does the Chicago Tribune want with this?
Apparently some website, some LGBT website got wind of your op-ed.
I see.
Mm-hmm. And now Middleton is trending, as they say, and I have to answer for that.
Okay, well, what did you tell these people?
I tried not to say much of anything, honestly, just that Middleton is committed to tolerance and that we stand firm against bigotry.
Stands firm.
Yes, that we stand firm against bigotry.
Sounds like you spoke from the heart.
What does that mean?
It simply means it sounds a bit managerial to me, that's all.
I was responding to a question about your transphobia, John.
My transphobia?
John, surely you know there are things you just can't say. Not today.
Not today?
There are more than two genders. There is no debate around that.
No debate among whom?
Among enlightened people, John.
Well, excuse me, Bryn, but in this case, I'm having trouble seeing the distinction between enlightenment and dogma.
I don't need dogma to know that there are more than two genders. I can just look around. And I am telling you, John, that your words are making kids feel unsafe.
Unsafe from what?
Unsafe from judgment.
Bryn, who in the history of humanity has ever been safe from judgment?
So there are two options here. You can apologize, John, and I will do everything I can to defend you. I will say that in the spirit of inquiry, that you let yourself muse about things that are beyond question.
Let myself muse?
Or we can commence an investigation.
Lanston, did you stop talking like that?
I am not talking like anything.
You're talking like an administrator.
I am an administrator. Please, John.
Please?
Yeah, it's me asking now, okay? It's not the president, it's me, it's Bryn. I am telling you the best way out of this for you, for me, for everyone, is for you to apologize. It's either that or sheer ugliness.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, what?
Let's see how ugly things get.
Transition 2. Later. John, Sarah, and Peter.
I'm glad you called me. I've been watching this place's steady slide towards Oberlin.
What does that mean?
I mean, there's only so much of this gender studies charlatanism a man can take.
Right. Well, my complaint isn't with the gender studies department.
Oh, that's where all this comes from. These are the same neo-Marxists behind every regressive policy out there today, from affirmative action to women's equality. I mean equality of outcome, not equality of opportunity. Don't throw me out the door. My point is, these people look at you and they see just some old white guy. They don't care about quality. They don't care about expertise or science. You know what they care about? Quotas, optics. They unfurl a banner that reads justice, and soon enough, there are things that can't be said. Concepts like boy and girl that are suddenly deemed so dangerous, we have to outlaw them completely. And then where are we? We're in Mao's China. That's where we are.
I must say, you're not what I was expecting when my friend from the ACLU referred us to you.
Well, Lisa and I go way back. She's wrong about everything, but she has a good heart. And she knows this is the kind of case I get off on. These people say they want diversity, but what they really want is conformity. Can't tolerate a single conservative thought.
But I'm not a conservative.
You are now. Entire left's lost its mind.
No, I'm not. I'm a liberal. I've always been a
So
liberal.
let's not get all tied up with labels. Listen, for you, it won't make a difference who you vote for once we get compensatory damages. You can retire and live out the rest of your days on the golf course.
That's not what I'm looking for. I just don't want to be punished for.
Well, this is bigger than you, John. You think you're the only professor who suddenly can't speak his mind in an academic setting of all places? They're going to say free speech is great, but some things can't be allowed on campus in any way. You're engaging in sex discrimination by not dignifying this made-up gender. They think we're going to say He's an old guy who sometimes sounds a little off, but Middleton's a public university and the Constitution defends his right to teach freely. And it does, John. It defends that right. But what is this case really about?
Calling a spade a spade?
Yes. And you are not about to be compelled to pretend that gender is an invention. You will not be held hostage by a mob of postmodern, identity politics obsessed authoritarians. These people may smile, but they are evil, John. They are evil and they are stupid, and I will pummel them beyond recognition.
Well, it was lovely meeting you.
Look, I can tell you both hate my politics. Fine. But what you see with me is what you get. You don't want a nice lawyer for a job like this. You want me. You want someone who scares these guys into place.
Well, I appreciate your directness.
Call me. And whatever you do, don't talk to these people without a lawyer by your side.
He holds out his hand and John shakes it.
You know how to find your way out of here?
I've got a killer sense of direction. Nice meeting you, Sarah.
That person is insane.
I liked him.
He's a megalomaniac.
Well, what do you want me to do, Sarah? I'm meeting with Bryn and this Title IX officer tomorrow, and I think he's right. I do not want to go in there unrepresented. What?
Remember when women decided to start using Ms.? Remember when that was new and strange?
Ms. served a purpose. It allowed women to not have to reveal their marital status at every turn.
We started going by Ms. because we felt marital status was immaterial to the way we should be addressed. Maybe these kids, for them, the division between male and female in how they are addressed is also unimportant.
Fine, let gender be unimportant. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Sarah, are you really dignifying this?
I saw a student the other day, a boy. He was wearing makeup and jewelry and his nails were painted. And I just thought, oh, he's a they.
What are you talking about?
It seemed like, I don't know, an appropriate thing to call him. He was a boy dressed kind of like a girl and he just seemed they-like. Look, John, people make up all kinds of stories to make sense of themselves, their lives, their identities. You really think any of us is about to see things in some completely objective way?
I feel like I'm the only rational person on this entire campus.
I think if you were rational, you wouldn't let that man anywhere near this situation.
He's a fighter. That's his job.
In his own words, gearing up to pummel your boss, the school's lawyer, and your own student.
He was being figurative.
Yes, dear, I know he was not literally going to assault your adversaries. I'm saying I don't think his energy is what this situation calls
And
for.
I think you're naive.
I'm naive. You're about... We have a nice life here, don't you think?
Of course.
Well, why don't you just call this H person a they and move on?
Because it's the principle of it. Now, that man may not be likable, but he's not wrong. This is an ideology that has yet to convince me of its seriousness. And in the meantime, I'm not going to be compelled to abide by it.
But everyone else is.
Because they're scared. Well, you think Bryn thinks this kid is a girl?
I don't know what she thinks.
She said to me, she thinks she is a girl. She said to me herself, she said, call the girl they. Call the girl they.
Okay, fine. So Bryn is acting out of self-interest. Why not do the same?
Because it would be lying. What is the third person, Sarah? It's what we use when we are talking about other people. It reflects the way we see other people. Now, if this were about first person pronouns.
Oh God, John, please, this is pedantic even for you.
My point is, if these kids want to call themselves some crazy pronoun, then they should feel free. But I will not do it.
So what, you're gonna go in there with that guy? Bully everyone into letting you do whatever you like?
I like him. I like how he makes me feel.
I know. That's what I'm worried about.
Transition to a conference room. H and Alex with Bryn and Nancy.
Alex, H, this is Nancy Baumbach, our Title IX officer. She's going to be leading the hearing.
It's a pleasure to meet you two. I know it's not easy to come forward with these kinds of allegations.
Well, it's all H. We wouldn't be here without them.
Oh, I don't know about that.
They're very modest.
So, you guys are with the
Baglitzikia.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm the president.
Good for you. I can't imagine what it would have been like to have a group like that when I was in college.
Hello, everyone.
Can I help you?
Pete Gilbert. I'm representing Professor Benson.
Hi. John, this is a closed door meeting.
Close the door.
Forgive my client. He is understandably under some duress.
President Fisher is right. We don't allow outside parties at these hearings.
I'm not enduring this without representation.
Oh, Jude, John, we were just asking questions.
Then I'll just be listening in.
John, frankly, I'm not so sure showing up with a lawyer is doing a lot to establish good faith here.
I have a lawyer.
I'm a neutral party. I'm just here to gather information.
I think we all know what this is, and I want my lawyer present.
Well, I'm sorry, ladies. I have to defer to my client.
John, really?
I want my lawyer present.
Okay. Then I guess we might as well get started.
So, we are here because there has been a Title IX complaint lodged against Professor Benson by Ms.
Just H. It's fine.
By H and Mr. Wexler, is it? On behalf of Baglitzikia. So, we have two options. The first is that we come to some sort of understanding here today. We close the case and we move on. I think we can all agree that is the preferable action. Barring that, we begin an investigation of Professor Benson to determine if his actions constitute a breach of Title IX, which prohibits discrimination based on gender.
Sex.
I'm sorry?
Discrimination on the basis of sex.
Yes. So, should said investigation conclude that Professor Benson has established a hostile environment for trans students, then he may be subject to any number of sanctions, from restricted teaching duties to, well, depending on the severity of the infractions, loss of tenure.
Loss of tenure?
Please understand that it is my job to protect Middleton from running afoul of Title IX. As such, I will recommend the school take whatever actions necessary to address what may or may not prove to be a pattern of anti-trans behavior.
Defined as what exactly?
You know, I am hesitant to provide a definitive answer to that question at this time.
I bet you are.
I only mention these possibilities, Professor Benson, to highlight the benefits of coming to some sort of amicable solution.
Yes, a very amicable gun you've got pressed to my head.
John, relax.
So, in light of our options here, I'd like to ask H, what would you like to see happen here today?
I want an apology. I want Professor Benson to commit to using people's correct pronouns in the future.
And we want Middleton to institute API.
I'm sorry?
Affirmative pronoun identification. We have some handouts that say more. API means it's not incumbent upon non-binary students to advocate for their own basic dignity. It means professors proactively ascertain the preferred gender pronouns of all of their students.
A primer on API and useful pronouns.
And sort of a cheat sheet we prepared.
A, Z, here. These are words?
So there are many different types of pronouns students may feel comfortable using.
I called M. That is ears. You're saying there's a person in the world who wants to be talked about like this.
Well, yeah, we didn't just make these up.
Someone did. When introducing yourself, be sure to include your own pronouns.
So for you, that would be he, him, his.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Wexler.
This is an interesting document.
Never refer to a student as he or she unless you have been explicitly provided these pronouns. What? That's big. Bryn, you're not seriously considering this.
Does this count as an example of anti-trans behavior?
All right, listen, I don't know what I've done to antagonize you.
Hold on now.
What do you mean you don't know? You've created an unsafe environment for non-binary.
Wait, kid, H, have I ever threatened you?
No,
Ever seen me commit an act of violence?
no.
Have I ever made you feel unsafe?
You've made me feel uncomfortable
Well, those are not the same things.
and discouraged. Look, I came here because I wanted to write, not to be lectured about my identity by someone who can't even get past my gender. I mean, if you can't even take me seriously, how am I supposed to take a workshop with you?
I'm sorry.
Really?
Yes, I'm sorry, H. I never want to leave a student feeling discouraged about his or her writing.
Or their writing.
I was trying to understand you, and I pushed back against what didn't make sense to me. I could have done that differently, perhaps. If I did that in a way that took you away from your writing, that is something I regret.
Thank you.
Well, now we're getting somewhere.
What about API?
I think it's something that we're worth discussing.
So let's discuss it.
I am happy to circulate these materials.
Wait, you're going to circulate this?
John.
Look, I'm glad H and I were able to smooth things over here, but Bryn, I can't imagine Title IX forces you to propagate nonsense.
It isn't nonsense, you transphobic fuck.
Hey!
Excuse me?
You really know how to work a room, don't you, son?
Son? What is this, Ozzy and Harriet?
H, I hope you'll rejoin my class. We can put this issue to one side and focus on your writing. Anything more than that, I cannot offer you.
Then I think you should resign. And if you won't resign, you should be fired.
And you should be diagnosed.
Okay. It sounds like we're opting then for an investigation.
If you'll excuse the interruption, Ms. Bonbeck, I'm sure you would agree there is no legal statute that prohibits Professor Benson from hewing to his own understanding of the meanings of words. In fact, we have that pesky old Constitution, which guarantees Professor Benson the right to say or not say almost anything he likes in his classroom, including any real or imagined pronouns. Even if Middleton were to institute this API thing, that would most certainly amount to compelled speech, which again, the Constitution, finally, Ms. Bombeck, you seem to think Title IX, a provision that prohibits sexism, but not, well, what would you call it, genderism, is somehow relevant to the matter at hand. It isn't, and we're confident the courts will agree with us. So I just wanted to offer those points of information.
Well,
I should add as well that should your investigation result in punitive measures, we will be suing the university for $50 million.
What?
What?
You are out of your mind.
Try me.
Gets up. So does John.
It's been a pleasure, ladies.
He starts to leave. John remains for a moment, looking at H and Alex. Then he follows Peter out. Transition to John's residence.
$50 million?
Well, Peter says a judge will knock it down, but it's an attention-grabbing figure, don't you think?
I think I can think of better uses for our tax dollars.
Look, all it has to do is scare them. I don't really want damages. I just don't want to be told how to talk to my own students.
Well, what I want is to live and work on a campus where people aren't covering our front door in graffiti. I mean, John, this is the world we're in. Does it always make sense? No. But does it hurt anyone for you to take the easy way out here? Or must you make yourself a social pariah for the sake of
Truth? For the sake of truth?
The doorbell. John gets it. It's Daniel.
Hey, Danny boy.
Do you have a moment?
Sarah, are you through thrashing me?
how are you, Daniel?
I'm actually pretty good. I heard from Scribner, and I want to thank you, John, because they went for it. They're publishing my novel.
I knew it.
That is wonderful.
Come on, let's get out of here. I'll buy you a scotch.
No, you don't have to do that.
Well, Sarah, come with us. It'll take our minds off everything.
I actually need to talk to you about some things.
Well, let me get my coat. We'll get a drink.
No, it's not like a fun talk.
Oh, what? You want to be alone?
I think so.
Well, I'll give you guys some time. Congratulations, Daniel. That is wonderful about the book.
That lawyer talked to me. That Title IX lady.
Uh-huh. Well, what did she ask you?
She asked me if I'd ever seen you say or do anything transphobic or bigoted, and I lied to her. I told her I hadn't.
But that's the truth, Danny.
I don't know. I feel like when we've talked about this stuff, I mean, you're really behind on this subject.
We've been over this.
These things really hurt people.
But why should they? Any well-adjusted person touting this gender nonsense should be able to withstand a bit of skepticism.
Yeah, please just stop talking.
No, stop saying that. You know what? You know what I've noticed, Daniel? You've said everything except that you disagree with me. You've told me to stop talking. You've told me to apologize. You've told me that I'm old. You haven't for a moment tried to attack the substance of my argument. You think that gender is made up, Danny? You think something as fundamental as whether you're a man or a woman is something that's up to an individual's opinion about themselves?
I think there's more to being a man than having balls, if that's what you mean.
Well, maybe in a poetic sense, sure. But come on, Danny, you're smart enough to see through this nonsense.
I've been thinking, and I think I'd be more comfortable with a different advisor.
More comfortable.
Look, people are going to have their eyes on me.
Their eyes on you? You're not Salinger yet, my boy.
I just mean, this story, it's bigger than I ever thought it would be. And like, rightly or wrongly, you're associated with bigotry.
Rightly or wrongly, an immaterial distinction for you, evidently.
You were so opposed to even the idea of being non-binary that people are saying you're suing the school?
It's been discussed.
That you brought some homophobic lawyer to your Title IX hearing?
Holy hell, what happened to confidentiality?
Glitzakia basically thinks you're Jesse Helms.
I'm not anti-gay. I'm not anti-trans. I am opposed to being policed. Daniel, are you unable to make that differentiation?
Yeah, but everyone's police, John. To one extent or another, everyone's workplace makes them do things they don't want to do.
Not everyone's workplace makes you pretend something is true that is objectively false.
Oh, I know that's what this feels like to you, John, but that's...
And it is what it is. And you've all gone mad, even you, apparently.
You're a national story, John. I can't just...
You can do whatever you want.
I told you this wasn't worth it. I mean, if you just apologized.
We've been down this road. You need to work with someone else. Work with someone else. I'm only the guy who got you published.
And I don't want them to take that away.
Who's going to take anything away?
Well, look what's happening with...
What?
I heard something about your book.
What about my book?
I don't know all the details.
What do you know?
I was talking with this assistant editor. Apparently there was some letter or like a petition going around at Scribner. A lot of the people there said they weren't comfortable with, or like, They'd quit if they published you.
That's it. If you 25-year-old assistant editors start grumbling and you're ready to run for the hills?
I'm not running for the hills. I just think I'd be more comfortable with a different advisor.
You're weak, Daniel.
I'm sorry, John. And for whatever it's worth, I read your book. I think you're right. It's the best thing you've ever written.
He goes. Transition to H's room. Madeline finishes reading a document. H watches her.
I love it.
You love it?
Yeah. I mean, it's a little confusing with the they stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I caught on pretty quick because, you know, I know you, but I just a thought.
A knock on the door.
H.
H opens the door.
So, I was looking at Twitter, and there are actually a few Middleton professors who have voiced their support for Benson. I'm thinking we draft another petition and we get some signature.
You've been a real hit in Salem, you know what?
I'm sorry, who are you?
I'm Madeline. We've met.
Okay. Oh, also, did you hear about Benson's book?
What?
His publisher dropped him.
Over this?
Yeah. See, H, this is what happens when we make our voices heard.
Authors get censored.
No one's getting censored. If Scribner doesn't want to publish him, they don't have to.
They want to publish him. They're just scared of the PR.
Well, good. We've been scared all our lives.
We have.
Do you know the statistics on anti-LGBT hate crimes, on queer suicide?
I know that the chances of your being hate crimed or committing suicide are both regretfully low.
Jesus Christ, Madeline.
But who the fuck are you? Are you even queer?
I'm gay if that counts anymore.
Why haven't I seen you around?
I'm not a joiner. What are you, ICE?
H, I don't know who this girl is, but honestly, you can do better.
A, we have met like 3 times. You just don't remember me, probably because I'm a girl. It's okay. I know the type. B, can you get a hold of yourself with the persecution complex? We live in the most liberated era of like all of human history. And you walk around like a pogrom's about to break out.
Well, not to be dramatic, but the Weimar Republic had a pretty happening gay scene. So like, maybe
Oh
learn
my
your
God,
history.
seriously? I hate to break it to you because I know it threatens like the whole basis of your worldview, but they're not actually coming for us. The whole culture war, we won. We're fine. So like, maybe life's too short for spats with old people about shit they can't understand.
Wow. Are you okay, H?
Yes, I am okay. God, you ask me that every time you see me. Like I'm not helpless, okay? I don't need you to save me or to protect me.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I thought I was being your friend.
I guess I did too, but for some reason, whenever I hang around you, I want to scream at people.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not always easy to be an activist.
Yeah, no kidding. Every professor in this place probably hates me.
No one hates you. You're the girl who woke up the whole school.
I'm the what?
You know what I mean.
Can you get out of here, Alex?
Excuse me?
They said, get out of here.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, H, for whatever I did.
I was looking forward to that book.
You were?
I love John Benson. I was waiting for the right moment to tell you.
Well, fuck.
Now I'm dating a book burner.
I didn't set out to get anyone canceled, Madeline.
Well, what did you think was going to happen to him?
I hoped he'd change.
By being strong-armed?
are you on my side here or what?
Yeah, to a point.
To a point.
You got a they out of me, didn't you?
Sure, but you could also just be saying that to try and stay in my pants.
Do you want me to stay in your pants?
Not if you think I'm a joke.
I don't think you're a joke. Listen, if gender binary is as pervasive and ingrained as you all say it is, maybe it's going to take me a little while to unlearn it all. I mean, personally, I think it's ingrained because gender is, biologically based.
How can you say that? How can you say that knowing trans people exist?
I don't mean gender is always biologically based. Just that it's not, totally subjective. I mean, generally people's outsides match their insides.
Well, duh, Madeline. Of course, generally, people's outsides match their insides. Why else would we be called queer?
I guess that's a good point.
For a gay girl, you can be pretty damn straight.
Probably true.
How do you change people?
Oh, come on. I'm not so awful.
I don't mean you. You, I think I can change.
Well, then you're on.
I mean, like the Bensons of the world.
You can't.
Come on. You said it yourself. Queer people won. We changed people.
We charmed people. We had Ellen and Will and Grace.
Yeah, but we also had Stonewall and Act Up. It's not like all queer people did to get political power was write sitcoms.
So maybe sometimes you need to fight and sometimes you need to flirt.
Like us.
Maybe. What we have isn't so bad, is it?
It's not the worst.
And also, maybe you're fine.
What do you mean?
Maybe no matter what anyone thinks of you, you're fine.
H starts to leave.
Where are you going?
I'm going to try and get you something.
H walks off. Transition to John's residence. John reads Sarah at the table with the mail. She's looking at a bill.
You have got to be shitting me. A $50,000 retainer? John!
Told you not to worry about that.
How much do you want to lose, John? You've already lost your book. You want to bet our nest egg too?
You're going to be compensated.
You don't know that. You don't know if this plot to swindle the state of Indiana out of some fantastical sum of money.
Please trust me on this.
No, of course I won't trust you. Every decision you have made on this front has been a disaster.
The doorbell rings.
Oh, terrific. Very much in the mood for company. Get the door. I can't be civilized at this moment.
Goes off. John gets up and opens the door.
Yes.
I'm sorry about your book.
What do you want, H?
Can I come in?
H walks in.
This is nice. My girlfriend is pissed. She was really looking forward to your book.
Is that a joke?
No. She's kind of like you. She doesn't really get the whole non-binary thing.
Uh-huh. And how will you be punishing her?
Look, I'm trying to tell you I was wrong.
After all of this, you're conceding the point?
No, not wrong about me. Just, I can't live like this. I can't care this much about what every person thinks of me, I'll be miserable. And I don't even know if I'll change anyone.
That's one of the most sensible things you've said.
Gosh, you're making this really hard, you know?
I'm sorry, H. I'm not feeling my most charitable at the moment.
I'm taking your advice on this story.
What does that mean?
Well, not totally. I mean, the character is still a they, but I'm going to make it clearer because I think you're right. Story's no good if people can't understand it.
H, I appreciate you wanting to make things right here, and I'm glad that you're writing. But you're not my student anymore. I don't have a horse in this race.
I wondered if you still had any galley copies of your book?
You're shitting me. Is that what you came here for, my book?
I think I may have fucked this up.
Fucked what up?
Look, I came here for you.
What are you talking about?
I came here to Middleton for you.
To do what with me?
To learn from you. I've read, God, I sound like a literary, like a stalker. I've read all your books.
You've read all my books?
Yes.
Why?
Because they're good. And okay, because I knew you taught here. And so after I read Elder Statesman, I read the rest because I always thought, well, that maybe I'd end up at Middleton.
All of them?
Yeah, even the ones from the 90s.
Which one's your favorite?
The one about the Midwestern drug addicts, Indiana Jonesing.
I've never forgiven myself for that title.
It's not my favorite title. I guess I have a soft spot for people who pun.
Why didn't you say anything?
I didn't want to seem like a star fucker, I guess. Sorry.
It's okay.
But then you were so disappointing. I thought you, of all people, would get how language works. Words are changing because people are feeling things that we want to name. I mean, what else is language for, right? But you didn't get it. And that meant you didn't get me. And I was so hurt by that.
I wasn't what you thought I would be.
No, you weren't.
When I didn't act the way you thought I should, you got angry.
Yes.
People can be terribly disappointing.
Yes. I don't know if I can stop this whole investigation thing.
You could try.
I can.
John goes to his box of books, pulls out 2 copies of his novel.
For you and your girlfriend.
Transition to Bryn's office. Bryn at her desk, deep in work. John enters.
Yes.
I wanted to let you know I'm laying down my sword.
Meaning?
Meaning that jerk of a lawyer I subjected to you is gone.
Oh, well, that is lovely to hear.
I don't know if H has spoken to you yet.
She has. They have.
Well, I talked to him, to H.
Yep. They want us to close our investigation, which I am frankly all too happy to do.
Oh, good. You know, I think I handled things rather badly all around.
I would agree.
I still think I'm right for whatever that may be worth, but that, well, Perhaps my priorities were a bit off.
Mm-hmm. I should let you know about some decisions that have been made.
Oh, okay.
In light of student reactions to recent events, it's been decided that it's no longer appropriate for you to serve as resident dean.
Oh, well, but Brent, this whole thing has been resolved.
I am glad that you have patched things up with one of the several hundreds of students here that feel threatened by your presence.
Oh, hold on. Are we back on this hysteria? Threatened?
I hardly think it's hysterical to call you threatening given the man you brought to that meeting.
He was my lawyer. That's what lawyers do. They scare people.
Well, you can consider him an excellent lawyer then. Lovely, I must say, to face the possibility of a multi-million-dollar lawsuit my first month on the job and from someone for whom I actually once had considerable affection.
Bryn, I'm sorry. Look, I had to defend myself. Those kids were out for blood. And anyway, don't worry about the rest of them. They'll be on to another petition next week.
I already have a dozen kids requesting to move out of Caldwell because they feel unsafe with you as their dean. Do we have alternative housing for them? No, we don't.
So tell them to get a grip. Who do they think I am, Gotti?
The fact here, John, is that there are a number of more qualified professors who could very much use the free housing and who are a bit more clued into the collegiate psyche.
Bryn, this is our housing you're talking about. Sarah and I, we have always taken that housing for granted.
I understand it's unpleasant news. I can see about securing some sort of a housing stipend given your lengthy tenure at the university.
Oh God, Sarah's gonna. Can we talk about this?
No.
Bryn.
One other thing. You are, of course, a tenured professor here at Middleton, which means that you will continue to draw a salary and you are more than welcome to hold an office here.
Bryn.
Excuse me. However, the English department has decided to rescind your teaching privileges.
What? Bryn, why are you doing this?
You can finish out the semester, of course, but following your courses will be removed from the catalog.
Why are you talking like this?
I am trying to communicate to you clearly and directly the decisions we've come to in light of your recent behavior.
Like my behavior? You're closing the investigation.
I don't mean the investigation, John. We don't need an investigation to see how antisocial you've been. I mean your attempt to extort $50 million from the school. What the fuck, excuse me, were you thinking?
I didn't even know that he was going to say that. Now, come on, Bryn. You know I was just playing the hand I got.
Well, now I'm playing the hand I've got.
But why?
Why?
You know me, kid.
And do not call me kid. I am 45 years old and your boss, for Christ's sake.
I'm sorry. What can I do?
What can you do?
Please do not take the teaching away. It is the biggest thing. Please do not do that.
I'm almost late for a donor meeting. I have to go, but you can take a moment here. I know this is probably tough news.
Brenda, come on!
Hey, another thing. I thought this might interest you. They is now listed as a singular pronoun for a person of non-binary gender in Merriam-Webster and the Oxford English Dictionary. Fascinating.
She walks out. John falls back into a chair. On the desk in front of him is the galley copy of his book. He picks it up, looks at it, looks out.